Hey everybody, it's Angie Atkinson, and today is Talk to Me Tuesday. So let's talk. While I'm waiting for my chat to pop up, let me just remind you that my name is Angie Atkinson, and on this channel, I offer free daily video coaching to help you discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse and toxic relationships. I like to call it toxic relationship rehab. Sound good? If so, hit the subscribe button and let's get going. So while I'm waiting for y'all to pop up here, it takes me a minute to catch up, I guess. I will say good morning to Ms. Jillian and good morning to everyone who's here so far. So, guys, talk to me. Tell me what's going on. Good morning, Malta. Good morning, Rachel. Amy, how's everybody feeling today? I hope you're doing well. Good morning, Ms. Dora. She says, good morning, sunshine. Melissa Gentile's in the house. Good morning, Melissa. How are you? Joseph Lee says hello. Hi, Joe. How you doing? Shannon O'Brien says hello all on this lovely Tuesday. Makita Showers is here. Good morning, Makita, and welcome. Melody Peterson says good morning. Good morning, Melody. Ms. Lily, MMH in the house. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you again. Good to see you, Ms. Lily. Morning, Marvelous Malta and Angie, says Jillian. Heather McDermott says good morning. Shannon O'Brien says, I've listened to your video about finding a therapist several times. Did you find one? Hey, Janelle, how you doing, honey? And Sharita Stanley in the house says, hi there, gorgeous. Hey, girl, hey. And let's see. Oh, I missed somebody. Natanya Rain says, would love your take on hypersensitivity in a video. I got you, Natanya, and I love you right back. Let's see here. Shannon O'Brien says, the questions I really have for a potential therapist is, can you help me recover from narcissistic abuse? Do you have firsthand experience with narcissistic abuse? Would you recommend getting these questions answered under the radar or asking them straight out? I think, you can ask them straight out. I mean, you know what you need. And the fact is, if they don't have firsthand experience with narcissistic abuse, you need to ask them to describe it to you because it is something that a lot of people don't fully understand. Okay. All right. Let me see here. We have Angie's Brick in the house says hello. Hey, hey, hey. And let's see. Elizabeth Gregory says, good morning. Good morning, Elizabeth. Ms. Carlita's in the house. Hey, Carlita. Oh, speaking of Ms. Carlita and Jillian, let me tell you something. All of the interviews are now uploaded to the Life Makeover Summit All Access Pass. So for those of you who got it, you're set. For those of you who haven't got it yet, the link's below if you want it. All right? Okay. Back to where I was. Good morning, Madeline. How are you, honey? She says, good morning, Ms. Angie and Roomies. Rose Hargrove says, hey, Angie. Looking great. Love the flower. Thank you, love. Hey, you know what? I just remembered I was supposed to check my messages yesterday. I'm so sorry. I got so busy, but please remind me before the end of the session today and I'll remember. Ms. Lily says, speaking of therapy, what do you guys think about art therapy for kids? I love art therapy. I think it's excellent. I think it's great for adults as well. Even for adults, just simply doing something creative, artistic is a good thing. As far as art therapy for kids, find yourself a qualified art therapist and go for it. I think it's excellent. What do you guys think about it? Share your thoughts in the comments here. Malta says, good morning, Angie. I did receive the text. Good news, my friend, because I forgot to send it yesterday, but today I got it and I put it in my phone and I won't forget next time. And he says, good morning, Jillian and all. Stab the Chaos says, so I feel like the bully tactic this past weekend. I fell for the bully tactic this past weekend. What I would like is a phrase or tool to cope next time this happens. Pressure to make a decision on the spot instead of thinking it through. Well, here's an excellent way to do that. Refuse to make any decisions while you're on the phone with that person or dealing with that person. Say, I'll have to check my schedule and get back to you, or, I'll have to speak to my coach and get back to you, or however you want to put it. Or don't respond at all. I know you're dealing with a kid thing, but you are not required to do that. So you can always use the old interesting if you're in person. But I think ultimately, you could say, look, I am not able to make a decision right now. I'll have to check my schedule and get back to you and go from there. Would that be helpful at all? Let me know. Hey, Rick Mash. He says, hey, good morning. Good morning. And Jillian says, Angie, I think I'm going to leave my job. I went to sleep last night with heart pains at a minimum. I think I need to reassess. Oh, honey, I feel you. I'll tell you something. You have a lot of skills that you could easily do your own business. If you want to talk about that, let me know. I just I'm doing a free training um, for people who want to start their business. It'll be on October 6th. So if anybody wants to sign up for that, there's an event on Facebook. Let me know if you want that. I'll get you the link to it. Yes. Okay. Let's see. Where was I? Lost my place. Okay. So tell me what's going on at your job, Jillian. Sue Bruce is in the house. Hey, Sue, how you doing, girl? She says good morning. Dora says, I'm remodeling my house to get my narc and the bad juju out of it. It's looking bright and beautiful. I'm almost done. Bye, Felicia. That is great news. I'm so proud of you. I love that. I think it's so important. Yeah. Rachel says, big question for you. My sister's husband has manipulated her so bad that she actually has to feel like she actually feels like she has to go back or go home at a certain time for him. She got rid of her dog this weekend. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I need to see the question. Uh, is your question, how do you help your sister? Rachel, let me know. Carlita says, it's my day to unload. My lawyer is not answering me. My narc lied during negotiations, and I want to know if I have to deal with it or can I fight it? That's a good question. Jillian, do you know the answer to that question? If you're still here, let me know. Miss Lily says, yeah, I would straight out ask my therapist to explain emotional abuse to me, but I knew nothing about about narcissistic abuse. Yeah, you want them to explain to you so that you know that they know. You know what I'm saying? The reason you guys are here with me now is because you've heard me describe narcissistic abuse, most of you, and you know that I've been there and I've done it, and this is why I can help you get through it. The same applies to any therapist that you would talk to. Yeah. Madeline says, fact for today, an educated target of the narcissist is no longer a target. I love that, Madeline. Thank you so much. That's so true. Melissa says, good advice on therapy and a great question. I started, but on a wait list for a specialist here in Chicago. Okay. Shannon O'Brien says, I'm thinking that a therapist would probably not understand narcissistic abuse if have not experienced it. Yeah, exactly. That's right. I've never, now there may be in some cases every now and then somebody who might have an idea, but I really have not seen it very often. First of all, they don't really educate them about this in school, at least not about our side of it, the abused person's side of it. And they also tend to victim blame in cases like this, because they're trying to fix you, not the other people in your life. And they still need to help fix you, but they need to help fix you a different way than they would if you were actually the problem. See? So Carlita says, I don't have money for another lawyer. I don't know what to do. Jillian, if you're here still, I don't know if you're driving to work now, but if you are, could you please let us know what you think about Carlita's question? Angie Sprick says, yeah, I've been watching narc videos back to back. I'm so lost with what's going on with me, he, and we. Yes, I'm still lost on the narc versus addict. The traits are the same, yet not the same. So here's the deal. Narcissists are often addicts, not always. And when that happens, sometimes what you end up seeing is when the person gets clean, they stop being a narcissist. And that's because drug addiction makes them behave in such a way that they don't appear to have empathy for anyone else. If they get clean and then they begin to have empathy, which I have seen several times, then they're just an addict who behaves like a narcissist when they're not clean. In some cases, people behave like a narcissist after they're clean as well, and then you're really stuck with a narcissist. Do you have questions about that? Shannon O'Brien says it's so crazy. It really is. Melissa says, please check messages. Thank you. Will find me under Melissa Ann. Okay, I'll try to do that, Melissa. Are you talking about on Facebook? Subaru says, so close to having a job. I'm so excited for you. I'm so excited for you, Sue. Oh, Stop the Chaos says he's been around 5 days. Way too much. It's amazing how the peace just flies out the window and the chaos floods in. I'm back to strong this morning and plan in place to prevent this again. Very good. I'm so proud of you. And listen, don't beat yourself up about this. Just know that you want to do different next time. It is hard for us to resist these people, and they know exactly which buttons to push. So it's just like addiction. It's just like if somebody came up to you, if you were a cocaine addict and handed you some cocaine and said, here's some cocaine. It would be really hard for you to resist it. And so now that you've had this experience and you don't want to go back, look at it as a gift. Look at it as a reminder of what you don't want anymore. And then look at your new strength as a gift and stay focused on what you want, not what you don't want. I'm really proud of you for getting through this and standing back up and realizing what you really want. That's a big deal. Rachel Campbell says, he doesn't like her dog. He hated it and he made her feel bad, etc. How can I help my sister right now? She's going through what I did. He even said the same my ex did. You will favor the dog more than me. Oh, well, does your sister have kids, Rachel? Here's what I suggest. I suggest that you sit down with her and explain to her what you went through. Explain to her about narcissism. You're welcome to share my videos with her. I think that would be helpful for her so that she can kind of see for herself what, that it's not just her, because it's very easy for us to think it's just us when we're in that situation, when we're right in the middle of it. And then I would suggest that if you are able to offer her a place to go, like she could sleep at your place for a while, that's something you could do. If not, any resources you can offer her. But mostly just be there for her and don't judge her, because you and I both know how painful that is if you're alone in the world. And so if you can be there for your sister and help her through it, absolutely do that. Just be there for her. Let her talk to you. Let her vent to you. As long as you're strong enough to handle it yourself. And if not, consider sharing resource information. I mean, queenbeing.com is packed with free resources that she can use. And there are lots of free things at lifemakeover.org at the Academy as well. So you might check that out too. Maybe get her the perk. It's a free download on queenbeing.com/perk. That is for the post-gaslighting emergency recovery kit, which has several little pieces of information that really help when you're going through the hard part. And there's another one called Plan. Queenbeing.com/plan, PLAN. You will find the 2 downloads to help her plan to leave and then to actually leave safely. So those are 2 other things that might help. Let me know if you have other questions, Rachel, because I'm very happy to answer those for you, honey. I know you went through so much with yours, and I know it might be kind of difficult for you to support someone else at this time, but I know you're a loving soul, and I know you'll do what you can for your sister. So if there's anything I can do, just let me know. Sue Bruce says, scares me, but I'm doing it. Well, I'm super proud of you, Sue, and I'm really impressed with how strong you are becoming. Honestly, I'm really proud of you. Carlita Vega, and I want to just say while I've got you here, thank you again for being an amazing admin, and Amy, you too, honey, and every other amazing admin that I have here. Carlita says, this process is taking so long and he isn't being held accountable. How exhausting. So sorry, Carlita. I know how frustrating that is, but remember to stay focused on what you want and not what you don't want as often as you can. I know it's hard when you're going through divorce, but look at the freedom on the other side of this mess. It'll be better. Cheryl Lawson says, I depend on my narcissist for my bills. I don't know what to do. It is a process, my love. Check out queenbeing.com/plan, PLAN, to start. And there's lots of other things we can do. One of the things you might consider is getting a job or starting your own work at home business. I'm working on things right now to help you with that. And there are a couple of free things right now available for you at the Life Makeover Academy. Melissa says, love art in all of its forms. Painting my walls currently. Yeah, me too, girl. I am all about some art. I'm not even that great at art, but I still keep doing it because it's fun and I like it, just like singing. I'm not that great at it, but I have fun with it, so I keep doing it. Everybody has a thing they're really good at, and then everybody has a lot of things they love to do that they're only just okay at. Well, that's who I am with certain things. Jillian says, Carlita, you need to find out what the statutory limitations are in your jurisdiction. If you have new evidence, that could be a huge factor in reconsideration. Thank you, my love, Jillian. Thank you. I appreciate you very much. Muffy Lewandowski says, hello to all and blessed day. Question, Angie, how do you stop attracting narcs, my friend? I think art therapy is an amazing idea, she says. Wait a minute, I just lost my place. Okay, wait a minute. La 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 la. Sorry, guys, I'm so silly. Okay. I keep it like it scrolls up on me and then I can't see it anymore. Here we go. Oh, Muffy thinks art therapy is an amazing idea for little ones and big ones. Okay. How do you stop attracting narcissists? This is a great question, Muffy. Here's what you do. Number one, you start setting your own boundaries and sticking to them. Okay. So, for example, like I've said before, in my marriage, I have 3 deal breakers. Here they are. Number one, don't hit me. Number two, don't cheat on me. And number three, don't hurt my kids. Okay. So, if any of those things happen, my husband knows. Even after we just had our anniversary on the 24th, we were married 12 years together, almost 16. Dang. Anyway, and we don't break those rules. I don't break those rules. He doesn't break those rules. And we both know that if we break those rules, that's it. We walk away, we don't talk about it. Anything else, we'll try to work through it and get through it. But those 3 things for me are deal breakers. So you have to have deal breakers in your relationship or for yourself about relationships. That's number one. Number two is work on your self-esteem. You have to build up your self-esteem to the point that you love yourself so hard that you're like literally in love with yourself. And I don't mean in a narcissistic way. I mean, you can look in the mirror and go, I'm so pretty or handsome. You can look in the mirror and go, I'm happy about what I'm doing in my life, or I'm happy about what I'm working toward in my life. You can look in the mirror and feel good about who you are as a person. This is a very important part of this because narcissists, of course, they enjoy people with high self-esteem until they get them in that thing and then they try to, beat them down. But your self-esteem and your standards, you have to develop standards, which you start with boundaries and deal breakers, and then you raise your standards. You change the way you tolerate crap. 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out, depending, and if they do the deal breakers, forget about it. Don't jump into a relationship too soon. Make sure that you have time to kind of shed all the toxic energy that has been applied to you during this relationship and figure out what you really want, not what you don't want. Figure out what your goals are, what your plans are, and develop a plan for your life. If you meet someone who is good enough for you, which you will know by the fact that A, they have empathy, B, they're decent people, C, they aren't emotionally abusing you or manipulating you, and D, they don't mess with your deal breakers, then if that person fits into your life, you can let them into your life if you want to. But you have to wait until you're healed. Is that helpful at all? Let me know. Jillian says, if your attorney does not return your call within 24 to 36 hours, it is not ethical, in my opinion. I agree. Malta says, good morning, Muffy. And Stop the Chaos says, I have to ask, I think he's purposely losing way too much weight to get attention and look pitiful. I'm not addressing this as bad behavior will not be acknowledged anymore. Will he stop this? If you don't pay attention to him, he will probably stop. However, my guess is that he may be doing it to get pity and attention from other people, because what they like to do is they smear campaign you. You know what I'm saying? So something to think about. Yeah. They smear campaign you with this kind of stuff, and then they use it to draw other people in, often their next victim. For example, my ex-husband walked around with a picture of myself and my son at 16 months old, who, by the way, he's 20 now, and used that as, oh, she's taken my son from me, la, 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 which was really not the truth. I did take myself and my son out of the place we lived with him, but he had every right to see the kid. But he chose not to because it was too much work or whatever. So he played this game where he smeared me and secured his next new supply with that picture and that story. They love the pity story to secure the next supply. So that's something to think about too. Let's see here. Thank you, Malta, for putting the Life Makeover Academy link in. Carlita says to Jillian, no, negotiations were last month. He lied to his attorney and my attorney in order to not give me 401k money. I have the proof that what he said was a lie. That's good information. Cheryl Lawson says, my narcissist is my only support, but he's cheating and being abusive verbally and emotionally. Okay, so have you thought about getting a job, Cheryl? Have you thought about starting your own business? Do you guys have kids together? Let me know. Angie's Brick says, but would Al-Anon understand such a thing as a narcissist? Not usually, sometimes, depending on the group. Is he going through recovery now? Let me know. Stop the Narcissist. I'm sorry. Stop the Chaos says, just love Tuesdays with Angie. Thank you. It's amazing how quickly I bounce back from the tantrum since I've joined this forum. I'm so happy to hear that, Stop the Chaos, and I'm so happy that you're here. Carlita says, Jillian, are you okay? Amy says, hey, Subarus. And Jillian says, Carlita, I would send that proof to your attorney and insist that they give you their opinion about whether or not you can go for reconsideration. If he has lied about that asset, that is severe. Thank you, Jillian. Cheryl Lawson says, my narc is an alcoholic too. Yeah, I see that a lot. I've even done a couple of videos about it. And if you guys want me to, I'll do some more. Let me know. Jillian says, I did join the Facebook group. Awesome. Oh yeah, I saw that you joined the Facebook group. I just posted the free training in there today. And so you guys can sign up for that as well. And then there's another free thing. I'll post it in the group after this, where I gave you guys like a little report and a workbook and a worksheet and a checklist to, kind of plan out what you're going to do. And Jillian, you've already got, girl, I would love to work with you on this if you want to, because you've already kind of got a certain amount of, because of what you do professionally for a living, you could help survivors with legal stuff. I mean, you could do it right there in Vegas, but I think you could do coaching regardless of what state you're in. We'll talk about that later. Okay, I have some good ideas for you already. Stop the Chaos says, I love that everything has a label now, hoovering, flying monkey, narc rage, etc. It's almost like a little game now, waiting for the pattern repeat. Yes, that's the thing. And that's why we name those things. Because if I can say to you, hoovering is when they try to suck you back in after the discard, right? You know exactly what I'm talking about. Here's the thing about that. If I can define those terms for you and you can look inside of your relationship and see those things happening, guess what? This means it's really not you. It's really that person being a narcissist. And for me, that was a huge relief, a huge weight off my chest. Honestly, I hope it is for you guys too. Jillian, I really would like to talk to you about some ideas for you. So when we get a minute. Amy says, hey, Tommy D. Did I miss Tommy D? All right. Tommy D says, how's all the special little kitties today? Bonnie says, question. Hey, Bonnie, how you doing, honey? Is anyone else afraid to drive anywhere with your narcissist? One time he threw a fit and punched out the windshield. We still drove from Maryland to New York like that 24 years ago. My God. My God is right, girl. That's crazy. My narcissist was not allowed to drive. He had no license. I should have known. He had a DUI or something before I met him, and I guess lost his license. And in other cases, I've been in the car with narcissists who drove insanely, but I've never seen anyone punch the windshield out personally. So that's a little crazy. Did he physically abuse you as well, Bonnie? Or was it just like physical aggression around you? Heather McDermott says, I have a great therapist who is learning more about narc abuse and sending me articles she's read. That is excellent, Heather. You know what? If you would email me, I don't know where you're living, but I'm kind of trying to work on a list of therapists who know about narcissistic abuse. So if you feel up to doing it, if anybody else knows therapists who know about narcissistic abuse, please email me. I'd like to put a list on my site, that is divided by state and country, because I know so many people looking for therapists that their insurance accepts and things like that. So any kind of help that I can do to compile that would be great. If you would. If you don't want to, you don't have to. Okay. Hey, Elise, how you doing, honey? Stop the Chaos says, I want to say out loud, I can't believe how I moved from victim to freedom in my mind. It's awesome. Isn't it, though? It's a beautiful thing, and I'm so proud of you. Tommy says, she's Bonnie. That's crazy. I wouldn't get in that car with that wingnut. Tommy, I love your sense of humor. I like wingnut. That's good. I'm going to use that. Wingnut. That's nice. Pamela Castillo is here. Hey, girl. Hey. She says, yeah, my therapist calls it emotional abuse, but not narc abuse. And you know what? Emotional abuse is something that narcissists do. They can call it whatever they want to call it as long as they get it. You know what I'm saying? Um, Narcissistic abuse, in my opinion, is, involves emotional abuse, also involves other kinds of manipulation, and also involves sometimes other kinds of abuse. But I think it's more, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, yeah, I don't know. I think it's more pervasive than standard emotional abuse. I think it goes beyond just being rude and mean and disrespectful to somebody. It's psychological abuse on so many levels. They really try to get in your head. It's a messed up situation. But hey, if your therapist is helping you, that's all that matters. If it's helping you, if you're getting through it, if they're trying to understand you, even if they don't know about it, it's worth a try. But if they start to victim blame you and they start to act like you're the problem and they start to tell you to change things about yourself that aren't related to, if they ask you to tolerate it more and not be so sensitive and things like that, get out of there. That person's victim blaming. Okay. Um, Angie Spriggs says, dead on. He's perfect when he's sober. There you go. So now you know, Angie, that his issue is he's an addict. And if you can get him sober, keep him sober, he may not act like that anymore. But I would have to wonder, if he's perfect when he's sober, how often is he actually sober? Because there are certain limits there. And if he's sober and he has stress, what does he do? Does he drink, or does he let go of a drug, or does he keep trying to fix it? That's important to know as well. Bonnie says, still afraid to drive with him now. No married vacations anymore. He goes on man vacations with guys, and to him that is perfectly fine. Yeah, I've seen this a lot, and I'll tell you, there have been a few occasions where my current husband has gone on guy vacations. A couple of times he's taken my son. It was him and my son for the guy vacation. But I and when he's gone on those, it's been with my blessing. I'll be real honest with you, because like he's known his friends many years, and I've known them many years, and I know, that I can trust him. The issue is there's no proof in this case that you can really trust your husband. That's the problem. Um, that's the problem. So I think it's not perfectly fine if you don't perfectly trust him. In my situation, I work a lot. And so sometimes I'll be like, I really want to work on this project. And, he might, and it's rare, but occasionally, they'll go fishing or they'll go here or there. Like he's taken my son to um, this place called Rockbridge, which actually, oh no, I'm not using that cup today. It's a trout ranch thing. It's like a fishing place, and they go and they stay for the weekend and they fish and they eat at the restaurant right there at the resort. It's a nice little thing. And they catch a lot of fish and they bring a lot home. I don't even like that kind of fish. It's trout. It's no good for me. But they love it. So I think it's okay. But again, he's with my son when he does it some of the time. And when he's not with my son, he's with a friend of his who I also trust. So who's also in most cases married, or at least loves me enough that I know he would tell me if anything bad happened, but I don't have to worry about that because I know that I can trust him. You know what I'm saying? So it's helpful. Sharita Stanley says, I've gone no contact with my husband of 20 years and the situation is somewhat difficult, I imagine. She said, but he left me at a time of going through illness, cancer, and suffering side effects. It's been 3 years. Oh, sweetheart, I'm so sorry. That's horrible. See, and this is what makes me so angry, is that obviously this person has no empathy for you, his wife of 20 years. And those vows we take when we get married, they say sickness and health, and they're supposed to mean that stuff. There's a reason we take those vows. I'm so sorry, Sharita. Are you still going through it now? What's going on? Talk to me. Melissa says yes. Okay. Muffy Lewandowski says, P.S. Still not in contact with one of the narcs, but she seemed like such a great friend in the beginning. It's so hard not to miss her like crazy. My nieces and nephews and friend are my life. So this is hard. I totally feel you, honey. Um, it's very hard. It's really hard. I know it is. But I hope it helps to know that you're not alone in this, Muffy. I know that it doesn't fix the problem, but your inner peace is so important and your autonomy as a person is so important. Your ability to be who you want to be is so important. And when you have people stepping all over your head, it's really hard to be who you want to be. So knowing that you're doing the right thing is important. And it's okay if you need to mourn your friendships. But I'll tell you something, when you move forward, you need to stay focused on what you want and not what you don't want. Take the time to mourn if you need to, but then make sure you stay focused on what you want, because then you can attract more positive friendships into your life. So maybe instead of being sad, and be sad until you're finished being sad, don't get me wrong, but when you're ready, I want you to start focusing on, I'm attracting new friendships into my life, new healthy friendships into my life. It's a start. And it's difficult because we do attract them to us like, moths to a flame, as it were. But don't allow yourself to stay in those toxic relationships just so you're not alone. Because if you are alone and you focus on attracting healthier, better relationships and situations, it's going to get a little better every day. Yep. Um, Stop the Chaos says, I've never called his bluff before now. I threw out a threat this weekend. If you don't back off and give me space, I will sell this house and we can have the traditional nasty divorce. He was shocked. Good for you. You know what you did? You set a boundary. You said, stop messing with me or I will take action. And he was like, what? But you did good, because what you did was you literally set yourself a boundary. I'm so proud of you. High five, girl. Okay. Carlita says, Jillian, it is up for reconsideration. We negotiated last month, but he lied. That was supposed to be the end. The lawyer is saying that we came up with a settlement then. I asked if it matters that he lied. Jillian said, I have been to at least two therapists to deal with abuse from the narcissist. Honestly, it was all a waste of time and money for me. The most healing that I received has been right here on Queen Being. Thank you, Jillian. I'm so grateful that you said that, and I appreciate that I was able to help you. And like I said, my channel here, it's all about narcissistic abuse recovery for smart people. All y'all are smart people. Thank you for being here. All right. Carlita says she won't answer that question. That's really bizarre. I wonder why she won't answer that question. But like Jillian said, that's very unprofessional. Janelle says, I was so grieving yesterday and then was awake every 2 hours last night, all night. Oh, sweetheart, I'm so sorry. How are you feeling today? Let's see here. Jillian says, I'm not saying that people shouldn't go to a therapist, but I am saying that I spent a hell of a lot of money to be damaged. Yeah. And you can literally, like, Queen Being, my nose is so itchy. Somebody must be thinking about me. Queen Being, you can literally, um, like get almost everything you need for free. There are so many free resources there. Like almost everything on the whole site is free. In fact, I don't think there's anything actually sold on queenbeing.com. In some cases, I link out to other sites for different things, but I really want to make all of the information available for free as much as I can. I mean, obviously, I still have to make a living, y'all, um, but I try to make as much as pretty much everything that you would need to recover. If you're willing to work for it, it's all there. And I do that because I know how often narcissists control our money. Oh, speaking of that, George Howard, that finance guy that we all loved during the Live Makeover Summit, he's going to come on my channel once a month starting next month, I think, on a Friday. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be exciting and awesome. Oh, and Brad will be here starting on Wednesday of this week, every week for a while, and maybe forever. I don't know. If you guys remember Brad, he was the celebrity hairstylist who also works for Hairstylists of Hope and all this other amazing stuff. He's been on television in Canada. He had his own show. He's great. You guys are going to love him if you haven't met him already. All right. Tommy says, ooh, I heard cocaine. Who said cocaine? You are so silly. Nobody likes that here. And if you do, don't tell me. I don't want to know. Angie's Brick says, so how can I make it work? I can stay for addiction, but it's so, so sad. He's at rock bottom and it still won't stop. I know I can't make him, but how do I create boundaries that won't leave him abandoned? Listen carefully, my love. You can't save everybody. You can't. You need to sit down with him and you need to say, I love you. I want you to get help. I will help you get help. If you can't get help, I cannot stay here and watch you kill yourself. That's what I think. You can't stay and watch him kill himself. And that's what he's going to do if he keeps being addicted. So I suggest that you do some research, find out places, rehab centers, call up that intervention show. I don't know. Do something, prepare, set it up for him and say, here you go. Here's what we can do. I will be here with you. I will work through it with you. I will help you go through this. If he chooses not to do that, there's nothing you can do. You can just say, call me when you're sober. Or I can't, you just have to straight up tell him. You have to put boundaries in place. That's what you have to do. If you love him, that's what you do. If you think that he's not a narcissist. Shannon O'Brien says to Angie's Brick, if person not willing to get clean, it does not matter if they are a narcissist underneath it all or not. She is absolutely right. It does not matter. Then you have to treat them like a regular narcissist. She said, my dad abused alcohol and his behavior was narcissistic. Exactly. Yes. I thought so, Tommy. Tommy says, just kidding. I'm very anti-drug. I hope so. I mean, really, because it's just never good. Okay. Breon Garner says, happy Tuesday. Hey, Breon. How you doing, honey, with your beautiful face? You are so adorable, by the way. Can I just tell you that one more time? He's so cute. You guys, we're Facebook friends, and I just love his whole look. All right. Stop the Chaos says, whoa, let me be clear. I did not fall for the hoovering tactic. I have not touched his narc ass in over a month. Yay! She says he's so confused he even made cookies. That's good. She said, thank you. Yum, yum. I love cookies, but not narcs. I'm with you. I'm with you. Good for you. Good for you. I'm so proud of you. You're rocking this stuff. Bonnie says, when we used to go on family vacation, he would not stop for the kids to pee. Yet he would always stop when he needed to pee. He was always trying to mediate and compensate and try to keep the peace. Yeah. Yeah. That's what you were doing, mediating and compensating and trying to keep peace. Exactly. And you know what? The fact that he would stop when he needed to pee, but not when the kids needed to pee, is a huge indicator of, again, the lack of empathy. Because, there's also, I mean, I don't know, I worry probably a little too much, but I think about the fact that if you hold your pee for too long, you could get a UTI. I worry about stuff. And I don't want to have to deal with my kids having a UTI. So I would stop. Even if I'm like, man, I would still stop. And of course, I probably have to pee more often than them, so it's fine. But still, that's just another example of lack of empathy on his part for his own damn children. Yeah. Okay. Pamela says, right, Tommy. Just kidding. Jillian says, no, Angie, I'm not driving to work. I told my boss I would be an hour later than usual so I could take a bath and drink some coffee and enjoy the morning chat. Go, girl. She says, boundaries, anyone? Yes, boundaries. I'm proud of you. You go. That's awesome. All right. Rachel says, yes, she has 2 kids, as we're talking about her sister from an earlier question. She says, I'll try to see if she will reach out to you as well. It's bad because the narcissist is avoiding her and the kids all the time. Invite her to join SPAN, Rachel, and share any information that you would like with her, and I will be happy to help her in any way that I am. Hey, I think I understand that, and no disrespect to any of our men here, because I'm sure they're scared of women at this point. Here's the deal. Take your time. Don't rush yourself. You're still in it right now. And, I marriage and relationships are hard anyway, but when you're going through abuse, you're going to be scared of people in general a little bit. You're not going to want to be involved with someone right away. You're going to need time to heal. It's going to take time. Cheryl, I really suggest you check out queenbeing.com/plan, PLAN, because that will help you start figuring out a way out. Muffy says, it is so like addiction. The distance was an amazing gift and help. Thank you so much, Angie. I don't know if I could have done it without the distance and the amazing support on here. I'm so happy to hear that. That is great news. Thank you for sharing that, Muffy, because I know it is just like addiction. Yeah. Angie's Brick says, thank you so much, Angie. I was going crazy. Like he's an addict with narc tendencies, but those narc people sound terrible. They are terrible. No disrespect for those dealing with it, but I'm an empath. We're on the same page. You know, that's exactly, I see that so often where you have someone who, I mean, I think, look, I'm even thinking right now of one of my closest friends in the world when she she got sober when we were in college in like 1995, and since then has been sober as far as I know. And she, during her addiction, was very narcissistic with some of her behavior. Didn't seem like she had a lot of empathy and stuff like this. But then as soon as she stopped drinking, she showed herself to care about how people felt, and that was a beautiful thing. And quite honestly, I think in her case, she was really an empath who was um, struggling with the world and the pain. We found out later that she had also been abused as a child and didn't even remember it. She had blacked it out. So a lot of craziness there. But that was why she was drinking. But now she's sober and clean, and it's been more than 20 years. So I'm really proud of her. Um, Angie's Brick. Okay, I got you there. Okay. Shannon O'Brien says, I remember when I was a really little kid, my dad being naturally kind and loving. Later in my life and until the end of his life, his behavior was horrible. See, exactly. Rachel says, I don't understand why my family attracts narcissistic people so badly. Well, Rachel, I think there are a few different reasons here. I think number one, I have not seen your sister, but I have seen you, and you're freaking gorgeous. So there's number one. Narcissists love attractive people. You're also an empath. You're a kind soul. You're sweet. You are loving and giving. That's number two. Very commonly attracting empaths. You're smart. There's number three. They like somebody who's attractive and intelligent, and for showing off on their arm. And they also like somebody who is um, really kind and empathic. Somebody who really tries to make them feel better when they have outbursts, because that person, they can manipulate eventually into even especially very smart people. And often very independent people can be manipulated in this way, because you start out just trying to make your person feel better, and over time and slowly they kind of mold you and brainwash you almost into doing what they want. So it is a process, but it's not your fault or your sister's fault. Um, I don't know if your parents could be involved in the fault, but I can't recall if I know a lot about your parents, but I know in your case, those are probably the reasons, and I'm guessing for your sister as well. Bonnie says, I think my narcissist is getting pissed off at me because I'm not over. Oh, and Rachel, one more thing. Bonnie, I'll get to you in just one second. One more thing I want to point out. A lot of times when you see narcissists being attracted to various members of the family, and the reason I said I don't know much about your parents, and so I don't want to insult them, but a lot of times that's because you may have experienced a narcissist in your family or someone close to your family who was affecting the way that you were being raised, or directly affecting you at school or something like that. That's a lot of times why you see it, because this stuff runs in cycles. So if you had a narcissistic parent or sibling or teacher even that affected both of you, that could be part of it. Okay. Bonnie says, I think my narcissist is getting pissed off at me because I'm not reacting. So he ups the ante with the doo-doo test to get me to react. Yeah, they do that. And they certainly make it difficult. So um, if you continue to not react, they will try to do something else. So don't, you know what? I would focus, Bonnie, on your peace. I would focus on, you know what? I'm going to stay at peace in my home. And if you're not being physically abused, you could even go so far as to set that boundary with him and say, if you have some negative shit to say to me, say it outside of this house, because in this house, this is my little peace bubble. Melina taught me that one. she she insists on a peace bubble in her house, and I like that. I think that's a good idea. Um, but yes, he's going to up the ante when you don't react in some cases, or she's going to, depending on if your narcissist is male or female. But if you continue to not react, eventually they'll move on. At first, it shocks them, and sometimes they just move on. They keep doing it after, and then if you're still there, as Bonnie is, it's a process. It is a process, but keep going with it unless you're being physically abused, and then let me know, because there's other things you want to do. Yonina Yisrael, hello, Yonina, says, thank you for what you do, Survivor here. Thank you for being here and welcome to our little tribe. I'm so happy to see you today. Moving on says, Angie, could you please consider a video regarding CPS and a video on how are children to cope with their narcissist father? Yes, I have done a little bit on CPS. I talked about my own story and my own issue regarding that. Look up story time on my channel, and I will do some more. And how children cope with narcissists, I've done those, but I will do some more as well. Let me know. Watch the ones I've done on my channel about how children cope with narcissists and let me know or how you can help them to cope and what happens to them, things like that. And if you would like me to make more videos, let me know in the comments of those videos and I will do that. And let me know specifically what you need. Amy says, love you, Angie. Love you back, girl. Thank you. Oh, she says, love you too, because I already told her that once. I'll still say it. I love you back. You do. Amy's one of our head admins, and she's amazing. Sharita Stanley says, he's been financially abusing me. Some money, then no money, so now no contact. Good for you. Or he's no contact. Either way, financially abusing is unacceptable. And, you know, if you have children together, you can go to your state in most cases and you can have them go after him for child support. You don't have to be involved at all. I went to my state back in 1999. And although I've gotten very little money out of the deal because my ex-husband doesn't work very much, lately I've been getting $11.94 every 2 weeks. Even though he owes me 50,000 or something like that. You can do that and they'll take whatever they can. They'll garnish his wages and any other thing he gets until, he's paid off. Angie's Brick says, those types of traits would kill me, even though the addiction is doing it too. It's different because this one needs help. The other is just being an ass in my eyes. Yeah, I agree. But as long as, again, a lot of the time when you see somebody break an addiction or begin to recover from it, you do see them stop being narcissistic and they often feel terrible for what they did. And I think that's part of the reason that the program, the AA program, for example, includes a step that involves apologizing to everybody that you hurt. Yeah. Jillian says, I realize I'm talking a lot this morning. I just want to say how proud I am. Please talk a lot. We love it when you talk, Jillian. Excuse me. She says, I just want to say how proud I am of the survivors in this community because I truly do see people getting a lot stronger, and that is just fantastic. And I totally agree 100%. Thank you, Jillian. I appreciate that very much. Pamela says, use him, girl, like I do. I don't know what you mean by that. Unseen Melly. Whoop, I lost my spot. Yeah. Here we go. Where were I? Unseen Melly. I'll find it. Sorry, guys. Here she goes. Okay, she says, hey, hi, guys. So right now he's speaking to me and half love bombing. Yeah, okay, until he strikes again. I'm going for far and in between with more bad than good. Tips for survival when you can't just go. I've done videos on this, and I'll tell you really quickly the gist of it. If you can't just go, set your boundaries and everything, of course, but they're going to break them on purpose. So here are the things that you do to get them to be nice to you. Number one, don't criticize them ever. And if you must criticize them, do so in a way that sounds like a compliment. Number two, compliment them, often act like they're your hero and they're the best thing since sliced bread. And number three, figure out a way to find peace and happiness outside of the narcissist and just tolerate them. This will be exhausting. It will be something that will be very difficult for you, but it will make them be nicer to you. Yeah. Act like they hung the moon. And if you are romantically involved with them and they want sex, have sex with them often. Just the truth. Renee Goodell says, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Renee. Welcome back. James Condit in the house says, hello, all. Hello, James. Wait a minute. And by the way, thank you for that amazing testimonial. I really appreciated it so much. Thank you. Bonnie says, I can't throw away the narcs things, yet he can throw away mine, no problem. His nickel return cans seem to be worth gold to him, too. He's cutting rich a nickel at a time. I bet he is. Oh, he's getting rich. Yeah, that's a control thing. I think And if I were you, I would lock your stuff up, the stuff that you don't want thrown away. That's ridiculous. And I would throw away his crap too, but I'm mean like that. Like with my husband, when I met him, he had these ugly t-shirts that were all holy and he still wears them. But the really bad ones, I accidentally lost them when I was doing the laundry. I'm just saying. um, yeah, let's see. Shannon O'Brien says, moving on, the YouTube channel From Surviving to Thriving has a series about, yeah, okay. Jillian says, Rachel, I would keep the dog and take husband to the pound. I like that. Melissa says, now that my eyes are open, I'm seeing a few types in my life. One created by his mom and one whose DNA narc hellbent. One who's in DNA narc hellbent in destruction of women in his life full on with sexual deviancy. Yeah, there are lots of different types, and it's certainly stressful. It's interesting when that happens. We start to see more people around us, and it's kind of crazy. All right. Thank you, Malta, my love, for putting in those links. I appreciate you, my friend. Janelle says, you have a great attitude. I'm afraid to do anything fun that I'm not good at. Is that post-narc? Sure, it's normal, Janelle. And, you know, you don't know if you're good at it till you try it. Some people might say I was good at art or singing. It depends on, who they are and what they're into and how critical they are. But it's better to just go for it. Like you've probably seen my videos where I sing. I'm not that good. I don't even care. I just do it. It's fun. I also sing in the car when I'm driving. And if I'm at a stoplight and my window's down and your window's down, you're going to hear me singing. That's right. So sing along, girl. Okay. Renee says, I have a hard time drawing stick figures. Okay, that's okay. Maybe your art is a different thing. Maybe you want to paint. Maybe you want to knit or like mold things and clay. I mean, it doesn't have to be specifically, that. Though a video from Angie on this topic would be fantastic. Yes, I've done several. Unseen Mail. I have like 1,000 videos sitting there on my channel in case anybody didn't know. Of course, to be fair, some of them are old and I was not as good at making videos as I am now. So that's true. Okay. But I'm pretty sure I have a playlist for children of narcissistic parents and dealing with children and divorce and things like that. Unseen Millie says, and I'm sad to admit it, but in the back of my mind, I just wish something would happen to him on his way and he wouldn't make it home, then it would all be over. I understand. I felt that way before too. And it's terrible. But I think everybody in this room could relate to that. Don't feel bad about it. Just don't really stay focused on what you want, not what you don't want. That's all I'm going to say. Lori Hoban says, I'm new here. I have a 39-year-old daughter that is the narcissist. 25 years of abuse from her. How do you get out and stay out of this? This is even harder when you're dealing with a child. It's a harder thing. But it's the same deal. She's a 39-year-old adult. If she can't be respectful and loving of you, do what you got to do. If you want to go no contact or low contact, I don't know if you have grandchildren involved. By the way, welcome. But if you have grandchildren involved, are you allowed to see them? And if you're not allowed to see them, then you might just want to go no contact. If you are allowed to see them, then you might want to go low contact and only deal with her regarding the grandchildren. Let me know. Tommy D says, I'm so mad at myself after a couple of months. Tamala. Oh, he says, after a couple of months, no contact, I posted a message on my ex-narcissist old Facebook page of us last night around 4 a.m. I'm such a sucker sometimes. Well, don't beat yourself up about it. What did you say in the message? Yes, Breon says, setting boundaries and ultimate self-love is the best repellent of narcissists. I totally agree 100%. Stop the Chaos says, the most comforting thing Angie says, it is a process, my love. It would make such a great video. That phrase has pulled me out of the darkest days. Thank you, Angie. It is my pleasure. Thank you. I appreciate you very much. And it is a process, my love. Renee says, Tommy D, it is okay. It's a new day. Yes, sir, it is. That's right. Thank you, Renee, for supporting our Tommy, who supports us all so much. Miss Lily says, 12 years. Congratulations. Thank you. I appreciate that. Shannon O'Brien says, Breon, amen to boundaries and self love. Indeed. Renee Goodell says, happy anniversary. Oh, thank you, love. Elise says, thank you, Angie. I can see clearly now when someone tries to abuse or erase me, when they project and all of that. That's wonderful news. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. That's why I do what I do, because I know that if we have this information and we understand what we're dealing with, we can make rational, logical choices to change our lives for the better. That's how I see it. Sharita Stanley says, because I didn't fall for the narc technique, so now he has a narc injury. Oh, sure enough, been there. Yep. Yep, good for you. Stay strong because that injury is the doorway to your way out if you want it to be. If you don't try to soothe it, it will be one step closer to you being done completely. Bonnie says, my narcissist says no rules when I asked him. That was his answer to me. What? It's a good question. No rules. He wants no rules? Wow. Bonnie says, good answer, Breon. Set boundaries. Right, exactly. Bonnie says, harder for those of us who are raised by narcissists. Also true. But again, at the same time, you must try. I've done videos on how to set boundaries. Watch those. That'll give you a good place to start. Tommy D says, thanks, Renee. It is. Those late nights make me soft and sentimental. Oh, sure. Yeah, I've been there. Yeah. It's almost like drunk texting, but not. Hello, Holiday Man. Welcome back. How are you? Okay. Um, Anthony Love, your baby mama is friend requesting your friends because she probably wants to connect with them in order to smear campaign you or get information about you. Sharita Stanley says, my narcissist told me he's always right and never did anything wrong. I thought, now I'm married to Jesus. Yeah. My narcissist used to tell me I don't do things I think are wrong. Yeah. Shannon O'Brien says, to Jillian, we are no contact, but she has my mother, she says, but she's indicated she's willing to stalk. How do we officially let her know that she's not welcome here anymore? My advice would be, to have your husband say something, because I know your husband is dealing with her on your behalf. But the other thing is, again, to just not respond to her efforts and attempts to see you. But I'm interested in hearing what Jillian says, is if there's a legal thing. I mean, I guess you could do a restraining order, but I don't know how well that would fly in court with her being 87 years old or 78. I can't remember. Janelle says, wow, Jillian, interesting attorney advice. I have two that majorly ignore me. Well, now you know, Janelle. Angie's Brick says, thank you, Shannon O'Brien. My mom was addicted to crack. I'd say a narcissist too. That's why I've dealt with this so much and am the way I am. I was even wondering, yeah, if being in this relationship had to do with upbringing. Shockingly, it is common. And even though we try to do the opposite of what we think is, where the abuse comes from and stuff like that, we certainly are prone to ending up with people like our abusive parents when we've had them. Yes. Shannon says, Tommy D, just get back on that old wagon, Tommy. Yes. Hey, Sherry Illy, welcome back, honey. She says, hi, all. Hope everyone's doing well. Love and hugs. Back at you. Malta, I got Anthony Love's BM question. Baby mama. I think that's an American thing. I don't know. Jillian says, unfortunately, in Nevada, that's probably the only way would be to seek a civil order of protection or restraining order. You might just want to check that out in your jurisdiction, depending on how damaging she is. I know that she's harassed the children and her and tried to prevent them from leaving their home recently. Malta says, Freedom Lee says, hey, Freedom Lee, morning survivor family, thanks for your advice. At times I'm in the freeze mode, which sets me back a few days, better than before, but wanted to stop for good. Yeah, I've been there with the freeze mode. When you kind of feel like you can't function and you can't really do much of anything, I've been there and it's really difficult. I was there for almost a year at one point. And it's horrible, but knowing it is a start. Wanting to stop it for good is a start. And I'll tell you something, sometimes when I feel like that, if I just do just one thing, I see a big change and it's very positive. So by the way, I'm really, really close to having 25,000 subscribers. So if you're here right now and you haven't subscribed yet, hit the button for me, please, because that would just make my day. Okay. Um, all right, let's see here. Thanks for your advice. Okay. Moving on says, how can you find peace and moving on when you are still in the middle of litigation? It is a process again, but you have to choose what you're focusing on. You have to choose what you're focusing on. Being in the middle of litigation sucks. Being in the middle of all the mess sucks. Find your little pockets of peace and focus on those. Deal with it when you have to deal with it. And when you're not having to deal with it intentionally, don't focus on it unless it benefits you to do so. So unless you're trying to figure out, ideas and ways that things can work and things like that. Okay. Let's see here. Shannon O'Brien says, to Angie's brick, so much is due to our upbringing. Yes, so important to work on ourselves. Absolutely. This is the thing. You can't just walk away from a narcissist and think everything's going to be okay. When you walk away or they walk away, you must work on yourself. You must figure out what got you there in the first place and heal the wound. And then find your unconditional self-love. Find your boundaries, set them, and then decide, am I ready to go into a new relationship? That's what I suggest. Tommy says to Shannon, yep, back on that old narco wagon. Giddy up. I'm proud of you, Tommy. Janelle says, do more videos on alcoholism and prescribed narcissists that may be prescribed prescriptions that might be involved with narcissists. You got it. It will come. Renee Goodall says, Jillian, you are so appreciated and your information to those women and men who need it. Thank you for all that you are doing. Ditto. Jillian, you mean a lot to me, and I really appreciate how much you support our community here. And if you ever want to be a regular guest, just let me know, girl, or just a monthly guest. I don't care. Just tell me. We'll work it out. Sherry Illy says, almost 1 month narc free, no contact. Yeah, feeling awesome. Guess he is too busy with other supplies. Good for him. Yeah, that is great. And I'm so glad that you're feeling awesome, and good for him is right, because good riddance, right? Yeah, good thing, good thing. Elise says, so true, huge relief. I feel you. Angie says, no, he's not going anywhere but court tomorrow, and he was getting high over the weekend, drinks every day, doesn't think he has a problem. Well, I guess you need to decide how long you're going to deal with that. Just a thought. I would give him that ultimatum. I would say, look, here are some ways you can get help. I will help you go through this, but if you're not going to go through it, it's over. I really would tell him that. Cheryl Lawson says, I can't work. I'm under doctor's care. Okay. Well, then you might be able to get disability money if you're unable to work and your doctor has said so. And disability, I think, can sometimes pay for you a place to live and things like that. Is that a possibility, Cheryl? I guess it depends on where you live too. Moving on says, I have court tomorrow. First time appearing in court for our divorce. Ex-narcissist is trying to put our marital home up for sale, up for short sale, or claim bankruptcy. I've been a dependent spouse for 11 years. They're going to make them, they're going to make him pay for you at least for a while. If you've been a dependent spouse for 11 years, I'm pretty sure. Definitely child support for sure. Tommy D says, Ange, I was astounded that every little manipulative behavior and action had its own term. I was so happy and relieved. Knowledge is power, faux show. Yes. Angie's Brick says, please do a video on narc and alcohol abuse and drugs. I'll do more for sure. Yeah, I will. And like I said, I've done some already, so check those out as well. Moving on says, if he is successful, my credit will be ruined for up to 7 years and I will not be able to apply for loans. Worried. You don't have to be filed on that bankruptcy. If you don't, even if you're married, you don't. Because here's how I know this, at least in Missouri. My husband and I, when we got married, he was attempting to file bankruptcy before we got married, but long story short, the lawyer's office messed up. The wedding happened. We were already married. He filed bankruptcy because his ex-wife ruined his credit. And I did not file bankruptcy, and there is no bankruptcy on my credit report. So you do not have to be included on that bankruptcy. And I would tell your attorney to not make sure that that doesn't happen. Don't sign anything. Yeah. I don't think your name has to be on that at all. Let's see here. Angie's Brick says, please forgive the typos. Oh, that's okay, girl. I got you. Typos, they don't matter in chat, really, do they? Um, and she's trying to sneak around and type. I gotcha. Oh, that's so funny. Pamela says, mine leaves me on the side of the road when he gets mad. Pamela, you deserve better than that. The next time he leaves you on the side of the road, don't go back to wherever he is. I'm just saying, think about that. Melissa Gentile says, how do I get involved in groups? I'm really looking to set up a few sessions and trying to figure out how to do this. Well, you can join SPAN, and you can get in touch with Melina at Melina dot. Well, never mind. That's too much. Just I'll look for your message and I'll try to send you to all the right places. But if you want to set up a session yourself, you can go to, or a package of sessions, you can go to narcissisticabuse.recovery.online. And for groups, get involved with SPAN to start. queenbeing.com/SPAN. We'll get you there. Namaste Summer says, good morning, all. Good morning, Miss Summer. How are you? Let's see here. And welcome back. Elise says, I gotta go. Bye, Elise. Shannon O'Brien says, Jillian, I don't want it to get that far, hoping she will stay away. We haven't told her to stay away since we are no contact. Oh, it's so hard to explain. Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing you can say is that you are dealing with a lot of things in your life right now, and you don't need the toxic energy near you. Or if you just want to make it about yourselves, just say, we're in therapy, and my therapist recommended that I steer clear of everybody who blah, 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 whatever. Or I would just have your husband say something. The fact is that she has abused your son emotionally and sort of inadvertently abused your daughter emotionally as well, not to mention yourself. So if you wanted to, you could have your husband say that it has to do with the abuse of your son, which she must acknowledge because she has actively undermined his confidence and everything else blatantly, and he is actively being traumatized by it or has been traumatized by it, and you don't want that anymore. So I think that's a legitimate reason. But at the same time, you do not owe her an explanation. But I do understand why you want to let her know. It's very difficult to explain. I totally get it. Totally get it. Brad says, don't even remind me. Hey, Brad, how you doing? Don't even remind me of the rages in the car. Everything was to observe a reaction, also known as narc candy. I like that word, and that's absolutely the truth. Yeah, the supply. They love the reaction, don't they? All right, let's see here. Shannon says, if you ever try to jump out of out of a moving car, you were probably riding with a narcissist. Ain't that the truth? Wait, I missed a thing. Angie's Brick says, he's not giving up on drugs. I truly understand that. My thing is how to cope with that. He knows it's bad, but he's in a place where he's scared of change, of course. Angie, what you have to do is give him the ultimatum and stand by it. Set the boundary. If you don't want to be dealing with a drug addict in your life who's acting like a narcissist, these are your options. Tell him, do your research, find out how he can get treatment in a way that you guys can afford or for free. Tell him you will be there next to him, cheering his every move, supporting him and loving him. But the minute that, but if he chooses that he can't do better, you have to do something to take care of yourself. You can't give your whole life up for this guy and for the few minutes a week that he's nice to you, right? And I hope you're not paying for all these drugs for him. I mean, that's another thing that you could probably use as a cutoff. Just something to think about. Shannon O'Brien says, if you've ever already read that one. Okay. Tommy says, my ex-narcissist is an alcoholic, would never admit it, even after years of fall-down drunkenness, blackouts, car wrecks, and sleeping with multiple people. The denial is so deep. They are delusional, aren't they, though? Sherry Illy says, and Tommy, I'm sorry to hear that happened, but I totally feel you, and I totally understand why you're anti-drug after reading that. Not that you shouldn't be anyway, but mine was also an alcoholic, ironically. Sherry Illy says, yeah, video on narcissists with drug and alcohol abuse. Agreed. All the narcs I've been with have been involved in one of these problems. Yes, ma'am. It's coming. Maybe I'll do it today. It's coming. Pamela says, okay. Angie's Brick says, me and his mom got to rehab Got him to rehab. He ran away in 2 weeks claiming he was fine. They discharged him. He was high by the time I picked him up at the metro station. Well, you know what? Don't pick him up next time. Get him to rehab. If you go to the metro station and he's high, leave his ass. They need that rock bottom sometimes. If you're there to cushion his fall every time he hits rock bottom, Angie, he ain't going to get better. You're almost enabling him by being there and picking him up. And I don't mean any disrespect to you, but if you truly love him, you got to leave him hanging sometimes. I know that's hilarious to say it that way, but you must set boundaries for yourself. You must choose to not be the significant other of a drug addict. And you need to tell him that. You need to say to him, look, I deserve better than to be with a drug addict. You deserve better than to be a drug addict. Let's together fix our lives and make them better. I'm just saying, if he's in rehab, go to rehab with him. I mean, not with him, but go visit him when you're allowed to visit him. Write him a letter every day, support his ass if that's what you want to do, but make sure that he is, in fact, staying clean. The fact is, I think a lot of times the reason people have addictions, and this happens to those of us who have been abused as well, we have addictions sometimes, and I think the reason is because the world is ugly for us, and sometimes people who are narcissistic during their addiction may not be, like I said, may not be narcissistic outside of their addiction if they're in recovery, but a lot of times you will find empaths become addicted because the world's too much for them. Maybe that's his deal. Maybe he's just an addict. I don't know. But with him having been to rehab, what do they say? The third time's a charm. I mean, how long are you going to keep giving him your life without getting anything in return? That's my question. I know you love him and I understand that, but sometimes you have to let somebody fall in order to help them stand back up again. Mr. Meyer says, hi, Angie. Hey, Mr. Meyer. 3 months ago, I discovered you during a night that could have turned really bad for me. My narc discarded me again. You gave me a way to react, which is different and hopeful. Still fighting. Well, I'm so happy to hear that it helped you. Fighting is something, but I would suggest that instead of fighting, you flow. And what I mean by that is don't keep fighting for your rights. Don't keep fighting to get what you want. Instead, turn away from the things that you don't want and toward the things that you do want. Flow in that way. When we focus on the need to fight to get what we want, we get more need to fight to get what we want, But if we begin to flow in the direction of the things that we want, life gets better. Go in with a positive attitude. Go in, and I'm not talking about with the narcissist. I'm talking about your new life. I'm talking about moving toward your new life. All right. Keep me posted. All right, let's see here. Cheryl Lawson says he's cheating. He told me to go masturbate with a sharp object. He's so twisted. Ugh. Are you guys married legally? If you are, could you file for divorce? Is it because of money that you're not leaving? Talk to me. Tell me what's going on. This sounds very abusive, and that's a horrible thing to tell anyone. Okay. Tommy D says, mine's mask would slip, and when she'd be drunk and become very mean and nasty. When I would refuse to engage, she would treat her pets so mean. Oh my God. That was the real person right there. Angry, broken, ugly. Oh, Tommy, I'm so sorry that you had to be part of, that you had to see that and that you were with that person. You are such a source of light in this world. And I just want to encourage you to keep being the source of light that you are. And I'm really glad that you got away from that person and that you're not falling back into that crap, because that's horrible. Anybody that would abuse an animal is horrible. A person, an animal, anybody, but an animal can't even respond to you. That's horrible. I gotta stop talking about that. Miss Lily says, when talking to my momster, I noticed I was laughing at the term momster, by the way. That's funny. I noticed my whole body goes tense. In my mind, I repeat, respond, do not react. I've gotten a chiropractor. That is a plus. Hey, that's great. A chiropractor is very helpful in things like this. And I like that you're using respond, don't react. I would, when you notice your whole body going tense, that's because your body is preparing for a fight. It's fight or flight response. It's because your mother stresses you the F out. All right. So if you have to deal with your mother or your momster, What I suggest is intentionally relax and still respond, do not react. All right. So listen, this is funny. My oldest son, when he was a newborn, like for the first 3 months of his life, he screamed, ate, and slept, and that was it. Very, very little time was he not screaming, eating, or sleeping unless I was actively bouncing him in my arms and all this stuff. It was exhausting. Anyway, my point is this. um, on the first night I had him home, I remember holding him like this in my arms, looking at him and not knowing what the hell to do with him. This is 20 years ago. Scared to death. My ex-husband was, of course, sleeping in the bedroom because, he just had a baby, whatever. Anyway, and I'm freaking out, looking at this baby kicking and screaming, loving him, but also literally feeling the urge to shake him. And I didn't shake him because I was educated and knew that shaking a baby was really unhealthy and bad. But at the same time, I developed a reflex in that moment, and that was to relax and not act crazy when he screamed. My first instinct was to just tense up, but I developed somehow this reaction where I would just relax. And so I put him down, I stepped away for a minute, I came back, I tried again. That is it. You can teach your body to change your reaction, is my point. If you notice your body tensing up, I want you to intentionally relax, and maybe while she's meh, 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 you can start at the top of your head and work down to your toes, or vice versa, up from the toes. Either way, that's a place to start. Chiropractors help too. Moving on, says, I used to call my ex names too. I told him to grow up. I told him to grow some balls and be a man. I feel like I abused him too. Does this make me abusive? No, I mean, yeah, I guess, but not really, because what happens, and this happens a lot, is that we so often, if they're not physically abusing us, sometimes we sort of turn the abuse back around on them. We will try to hurt them in order to get them to realize what they're doing to us, or in desperate response to them. What you need to do to be careful to not carry these traits on into your next relationship is take some time and focus on who you are, what you want in a relationship. And when you find yourself getting to that point where you feel like you want to scream at someone and tell them to grow some balls or whatever, you must ask yourself, is this a trigger reaction from my last relationship, or is this about something else? That's where I would start with that. All right. I'm going to answer one or two more comments, and then I'm going to have to go because I will be back later today at 1 p.m. Central Time for our next session of the day. Because it's Talk to Me Tuesday, we always talk twice on Tuesdays. All right. MMH says, Angie's Brick, beware of non-recovered alcoholics. Once they have a year or so sober, they're safer to be around. Best of luck. That is absolutely the truth. But if you're already in the relationship with them, you can be a member of Al-Anon or whatever support group works for you, and you can get involved with them. I have one client who swears against the whole AA program and everything related to it, but I think she's in a situation where the one that she got involved with is very cultish. So that's all I'm going to say about that. I think there are good groups out there. Shannon O'Brien says to Angie's Brick, if he's not willing to get clean, the abuse will just get worse. Take care of yourself. I agree 100%. That's why I said, tell him, get clean or get out. Angie says, that's my problem. He's never sober. Any stress sends him to the liquor store and drug of choice. He is relentless, like it's his life. I'll say before he gets too drunk, he's good. Okay, girl, you need to just tell him. This is it. Set a date, okay? Say, if you don't go to this rehab center by this day next week, it's over, or whatever. But sit down and tell him, this is how it is. I'm not going to be with an addict for the rest of my life. If you can't get into recovery and stay in recovery, we need to rethink this whole thing. That's what I would say. All right. Shannon, I really appreciate you supporting Angie's Brick on this. Namaste says, when my narcissist gets back from his solo trip, I will be gone. I wouldn't have been able to do this if he was here. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I know that's hard, but I'm really proud of you. I know you're going to do it, and that's just excellent news. Thank you so much for sharing it with me. Ms. Lily says, congratulations on leaving. I will keep you in my prayers. Tommy says, Ms. Lily, it is important to relieve that stress by stretching, going to a gym, and getting on a treadmill or getting massage. Try it. Yeah, that's absolutely the truth. Yes. Mr. Myers says, by the way, he used to drink, but since he stopped and supposedly started AA recovery, he became worse, showing more and more episodes of narc abuse. At least I'm aware now and have a different path ahead. Okay, this is an example of someone who was always a narcissist. So if they were drinking and now they're in recovery and they're still acting like a narcissist, they're a narcissist. They just also happen to be an alcoholic, if that helps. And I know that a lot of people will say, and I don't know what I think about this, and so I'm not saying that this is the truth or not. But what I'm saying is a lot of people say that former alcoholics and drug addicts will become addicted to AA and NA groups and things like that. But in a way that can be healthy for them if it helps them stay sober. So I don't know if it's true or false, and I don't know anything else to say about that, but that's something I've read and heard a lot. Hope Bradford says, be glad he left, and it would have been better if he had left sooner. Hi, Hope. How you doing? She says, the way I see narcs treat us, if you're ill, having them around will only make you worse. That is true, and I've done videos about that before. Hello, Diane McCoy. She says, my narcissist has left, but has left stuff at my house. Is really messing around with collecting it. It's been 2 weeks now. What is this game? I know it's a game, but I need closure. Thanks. Here's his game. His game is, his game is, I want to keep things around so I have reasons to contact you again when I'm ready to hoover you. So my suggestion, Diane, is to take all that crap and pack it up and either put it in a storage locker and mail him the key, tell him he has a month, or have someone deliver it to him, or put it out on your front porch, tell him it's there until somebody takes it. It's up to you. Put it on the curb at garbage day and tell him you better get here before the garbage truck does. I mean, if you're done, be done. That is the best way. Get his crap out of your house. I think if you want to do it in an ethical way that doesn't mess with anything, I think the best thing is either to have a third party get involved and deliver it or to put it in a storage locker. That is really weird. My TV just started showing me talking. That's bizarre. Okay, I'm wrapping up right now, guys. Thank you so much. Oh, wait a minute. Where's my remote so I can turn myself off? This is so weird. Um, okay, that's really weird. My TV just started playing this episode right now. I didn't even touch anything. Okay. I want to read this one from Bonnie because I think this is a good question. Bonnie says, so is sickness and health vows applying to having to stay with a personality disordered narc? That's my big question in so many ways, but especially religiously. Look, I know that even like Jehovah's Witnesses who are totally anti-divorce, they don't expect you to stay and be narcissistically abused or emotionally abused. I know this because I had a client who was a Jehovah's Witness and experienced this. My answer is no, you do not have to stay. And the reason is because in this particular case, there's no helping that person unless they want to be helped. I know that in the Bible, it says that, man should treat his wife the way that Jesus treats the church or something like that. So he has to respect you and love you and treat you with love and respect. And there are a lot of other verses I'm sure Tommy could quote for us or somebody here could quote for us. But the point is, in my opinion, the answer is no. It has to be your own choice. I don't think you have to stay with a personality disordered narcissist who is not respecting you and treating you with love and who is abusing you in the way that you have been abused. I will not say anything else about it because I'm not trying to give you any religious education here. That's up to you and your choices. I'm sure Tommy might, if he's still here, might be able to offer some additional support. Okay, I really have to go right now. I will be back here at 1 p.m. Central Time. That's just in 2 hours. So if you'd like to join me then, please do so. Hit the subscribe button and the bell notification to be notified, and text Angie Live, all one word, to 33222, and I'll text you 5 minutes before I go live each day. All right. Thanks so much for being a part of my day and a part of my life. Thanks for letting me be a part of yours. I will see you very soon. Have a good one.